All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a massive shift in how companies are being built. It's a whole new playbook called community-led growth. And honestly, it's rewriting all the old rules. And it really all starts by asking yourself one simple but kind of scary question. So, is your growth engine running on fumes? For years, you know the drill, right? The standard move was just to pour a ton of cash into a marketing funnel and, well, hope enough customers popped out the other side. But that whole engine, it's sputtering out. The cost to get a single new customer is just skyrocketing. And let's be real, people are just exhausted by the constant sales pitches. And this number right here, 2 to 1, this is the big flashing red light on the dashboard of pretty much every modern business. For a whole lot of startups, this is their new reality. They are literally spending $2 just to bring in one single dollar of new business. I mean, you don't need a fancy degree to know that's just a one-way ticket to going out of business, fast. Okay, so this complete lack of sustainability is forcing a huge pivot. Companies are finally ditching that old, leaky, linear marketing funnel, and they're moving towards something completely different, a new model. It's a self-perpetuating cycle that, get this, actually gains momentum over time. We call it the Community Flywheel. Yeah, the Community Flywheel model. This is really the answer to that unsustainable growth problem. And think about it like this, right? A funnel needs constant fuel. You have to keep pouring more ad spend, more leads, more money into the top just to keep it going. But a flywheel, once you get that thing spinning, it stores and builds its own energy. The community itself, that becomes the engine for your growth. So the big question is, how do you actually get this flywheel spinning? Well, a really smart framework from McKinsey breaks it down into 5 techniques that all reinforce each other. First, you need shared relevance. That means connecting with people on deep values, not just, shallow demographics. Then you need a talkable story that your members just can't wait to share. From there, you introduce hero products, things that are so good they naturally spur conversation. Then you have to actively fuel that conversation to build momentum. And finally, you make every transaction effortless, removing all the friction so that community energy turns right into growth. Okay, so that's the model, the what. But how does this actually work in the real world? How does a simple online forum or, say, a newsletter turn into a powerhouse company? I promise you, it's not magic. It's actually a pretty predictable evolution. And this journey, it has 4 really clear phases. It all starts with the audience phase. Think about Morning Brew, just building trust with a super niche newsletter. Then it evolves into a true community, where members are talking to each other, not just to the company. The Indie Hackers Forum is a perfect example. Phase 3 is productization, and this is where the community's needs actually become a product. That's the whole Glossier origin story right there. And finally, you hit the scale phase, where that community becomes your defensive moat. And that is exactly how Figma totally conquered the design world. And this quote about Glossier's founder, Emily Weiss, just nails that 3rd phase perfectly. She didn't guess what the market wanted. She asked the community. I mean, think about that. She used her blog's comment section as this massive, ongoing focus group. So when she launched her very first cleanser, it wasn't a gamble, not at all. It was basically fulfilling a standing order from thousands of people who had already told her exactly what they wanted to buy. Okay, so I know what some of you were probably thinking. Community, belonging, it all sounds a little soft, right? A little fluffy. But make no mistake, this is an absolutely hard-nosed financial strategy. Community-led growth isn't about feelings. It's about fundamentally rewiring the entire unit economics of a business. And this is where community becomes a financial superpower. It all comes down to retention. Retention is the secret weapon of profitability, and the data here is just staggering. A tiny 5% increase in customer retention can boost your profits by anywhere from 25% all the way up to 95%. And here's why. Think about it. When you stop using a normal product, you just lose a tool, no big deal. But when you leave a community-led product, you lose your network, you lose your status, maybe even part of your identity. The cost of switching becomes huge. And remember those crazy high acquisition costs we talked about at the beginning? Well, here's the key to bringing them back down to earth. A whopping 81% of buyers trust personal recommendations, from friends or peers, way more than any slick message from a brand. Your community becomes your engine of trust. And in today's economy, trust is literally the most valuable currency you can have. It just bypasses all that skepticism that makes old school advertising so expensive and, frankly, so ineffective. And this is the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually measure this stuff?
How do you walk into your CFO's office and prove that all those conversations happening in your Discord server are actually driving revenue? It can feel tough to draw a straight line, but don't worry, there's a powerful framework out there that helps connect all the dots. And that framework is called Spaces. It's pretty much become the industry standard for translating all that fuzzy community activity into real business value. It gives us 6 key areas to measure. S is for support. Your members reduce service costs by helping each other out. P is for product. They give you invaluable feedback that leads to better products. A is for acquisition, through all those trusted referrals. C is for content that users create. E is for engagement, which drives that super high retention. And the final S is for success, as members help each other get the most out of your product. Every single one of these letters translates directly to your bottom line.
Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is not a silver bullet. This model is incredibly powerful, yes, but it comes with equally high risks. You have to remember, a community is a living, breathing thing, and if you mismanage it, oh boy, it can turn on you fast.
I mean, just look at the 2023 Reddit API controversy. When the company made a decision that the community felt was a huge betrayal of their trust, thousands of moderators, these are the unpaid volunteers who basically run the site, they just shut their communities down. Poof. It was like a massive labor strike that made huge chunks of the platform totally unusable. It's the ultimate proof that your community holds a kill switch to your business. And then there's the other big danger, toxicity. Remember the anonymous app Yik Yak? It grew like absolute wildfire, but completely failed to moderate the harassment and bullying that took over the platform. That toxic environment drove users away in droves, and ultimately, it killed the entire company. It's a tough lesson. Safety and moderation aren't just nice-to-have features, they are the absolute foundation of a healthy community.
So, what's the big takeaway here? You have to be strategic. The playbook for doing this right is actually pretty clear. Number 1, start building your audience before you even have a product to sell. 2, hire people for their community-building skills, not just their sales quotas. 3, measure your impact. Use a framework like Spaces to prove your value. 4, build on platforms you actually own, so you're not at the mercy of someone else's algorithm. And finally, number 5, when you monetize, your goal should be to add value to the community, not just extract value from it. That's key. When you really boil it all down, this whole shift to community-led growth is a shift from broadcasting to listening. It's that simple. The signals for your next big product, your next killer feature, and your most passionate champions, they're already out there right now. So the only real question left is, are you building a business that's actually ready to listen?